Welcome to the 80s. No peace, no harmony, just visual chaos. Every corner of the space competed to be the most. Back then, homes weren't designed to be comfortable, but to be a show. The goal was to look striking, rich, and full of presence. But as time passed, designers began to realize that some trends weren't about taste, but about excess. And today, there are things from that era that no one wants to see again. Most notable among them was the obsession with shine. Everything was shiny. Furniture, lighting, surfaces, even fabrics. The shine was used to create a sense of luxury, but the result was often an eye-crushing space. Instead of reflecting beauty, the light reflected chaos. Over time, it became clear that luxury doesn't need constant glitter, but rather balance. Then came the very bold colors: blatant pink, neon green, and bright purple. These colors were used extensively, sometimes even in the same space. The walls weren't a calm backdrop. They were a powerful, assertive element. But experience proved that vibrant colors can dominate a space instead of enhancing it. Today, designers prefer colors that evoke a sense of comfort rather than challenge. And one can't talk about that era without mentioning the cluttered patterns. Patterns were everywhere, on sofas, curtains, carpets, and even wallpaper. The idea was that multiple patterns would create personality, but the result was often clutter. The space was no longer easily readable.
It was difficult for the eye to find a resting point. Then came the bulky furniture, oversized sofas, heavy tables, and pieces that filled the room until the space seemed to disappear. Size was a sign of luxury, but what appeared luxurious made movement difficult. As lifestyles changed, it became clear that comfort was more important than ostentation. Another trend that designers no longer favored was the excessive use of mirrors. Mirrors weren't just an addition, they sometimes covered the walls. The idea was to create a sense of spaciousness, but it often resulted in a feeling of coldness. The place felt bigger, but it wasn't any warmer. Even the lighting wasn't spared. Oversized chandeliers and lighting that emphasized form over function made some spaces feel like a theater, beautiful from afar, but impractical for everyday life. Today, the perspective has changed. The goal is no longer just for a home to look dazzling, but to be comfortable, livable, and balanced. Designers have learned that a successful space isn't one that immediately grabs attention, but one that retains its tranquility over time. This doesn't mean that everything about the 80s was bad, but some trends were experiments, experiences that taught us that design isn't about excess, but about harmony. Because ultimately, a home isn't a gallery, it's a place we live in. Share your thoughts in the comments. Would you rather live in the 80s or prefer contemporary decor?